This is TWiT.
Let's talk about Lina. I don't know if you're a fan, Shoshana. New chair of the FCC, young woman, known for being somewhat skeptical of big tech. FTC staff said, yeah, we're not going to get involved in Meta's acquisition of Within, which is a VR fitness app. Lina, the chairman, overruled, and they are going to go after Meta for the acquisition of Within, trying to halt that acquisition. What do we think? I'll start.
I heard that the barn and the horse had already left, Leo.
Yeah, maybe. But I like seeing an FTC that is, I like seeing a little more scrutiny on these acquisitions. The barn has left the horse on Instagram and Facebook, right? On WhatsApp and Facebook. But maybe it's not too late to start paying attention, right? And
I think they're trying to draw analogies with this. I mean, this wasn't a huge deal. It was like $400 million. But I think that they're trying to say, look, if Meta is going to pivot to virtual reality and this company makes apps for virtual reality, it has the potential to be the Instagram, analogous to Instagram type of purchase. And I think that this was the FTC just asserting itself in ways that maybe it regrets not doing so in the past.
And I think this is exactly what antitrust is all about. A company that has dominance in one market, using its market dominance to enter a greenfield, a new market, using its power, its money to take over that market. That's exactly what antitrust is all about. Shoshana, is this overreach?
I view it is, and I understand people who disagree, but for me, it should be about protecting competition broadly. I don't think that that there was a ton of evidence that this was, even like the Instagram thing. But, in my view, even that comparison's a little off because Instagram was starting to fail before Meta took it over.
It was tiny.
Facebook.
It was $1 billion, but it was it was an app that has a small number of employees. I don't know if it was failing, but it was small.
Yeah, I think if I remember, and I might be off, but I think their numbers were going down. It wasn't looking so great, and Facebook revived them. And even here, people complain about, for me, when it's about monopolies, I guess it has to really be about monopolies. And it's strange to me to say, oh, they can't get involved in something else. It's one thing if they were looking to acquire maybe Twitter or something like that, or doing things that would force Twitter or something else like that to be under them. But when they're getting involved in new markets, they can represent new competition in that market. So I don't really have an issue with it. But one thing also, just from a governance standpoint, it worries me that, she was going against internal FTC people. She wasn't really on the same page with her staff. And I think that's really important for leadership of any agency to kind of act as one. That's
a little troubling. I agree. Staff, though, has been accused, they dropped the Google prosecution. They've been accused of being a little lenient. And of course, she's been accused of being over aggressive. So maybe there's a happy medium. Just to make this clear, Within does Supernatural, which is a very popular VR app.
It's the first killer app potentially for VR. Like it is a huge success on Meta's platforms. It's a VR exercise app.
They know how well it does.
They know exactly how.
Meta has a competing app called Beat Saber. So it's as if, we have Beat Saber. Let's just swoop up the whole market for fitness.
The idea here is you set up an app store. You're the first to market really at this level with a platform like this. The big competition is coming. Apple's coming. You're gearing up. You're Meta. You're doing this. And you can look at your app store data and you can look at your usage data and say, what are the hits? And then you're like, well, I'm going to buy the hits because this is how you figure out how to be successful in VR is try a bunch of stuff and see what works. And clearly Supernatural works. So
make Beat Saber.
They want to own it.
The argument would be make Beat Saber better, compete instead of buying. Well,
and I think what they're really doing here is trying to prevent Supernatural from being built for Apple's VR platform, right? Like they don't want their competitors to get a killer app. And the end result, I think to Shoshana's point, the end result, if you allow this, is that somebody else is going to build something a lot like Supernatural that is going to be on Apple's platform, and it's going to be a killer app on that platform because Supernatural doesn't exist. Or Meta, if Apple's really successful, Meta's going to be like, okay, we'll be on Apple's platform too with Supernatural because we want the money. Like that's competition. And so I get it from the sense that they're trying to say, we don't want Apple's platform to be as competitive with us as it would be otherwise. On another level, if they buy this, it's so early, somebody else will make a Supernatural-like thing on Apple's platform or any other competing platform, and it'll probably be okay.
That's a good point.
But it's great. I mean, I do. Again, it's the moxie of Facebook, though. Like I admire. Again, I am admiring corporations, but like, what a scam! What a deal! You set up an app store. People come up with apps. You find the hits and you buy them, and then you say, "Haha, we own all the hits."
Right.
That's what they're doing.
And yeah, I guess you could say, well, then they bought Instagram, and so all these competitors to Instagram popped up. No. As soon as Facebook bought Instagram, that was it. They owned that market.
Right. I guess the difference here is that we're talking about a potential, like the Apple thing looming here is like they are gearing up for war, right?
Yeah, that's what this really is, isn't it?
And they don't want, they know that Supernatural, if it is a standalone, is going to either going to be like a AAA game maker who makes a deal with Sony or Microsoft, right? Like for an exclusive. They're going to have upper hand and they're going to be able to make a lot of extra money and charge Facebook, Meta, extra money, or Apple to get an exclusive. It's probably limited. And then in the end, it's going to be on both platforms. And like, why would you do that if you could just spend a few million now and never have to do it because you own it? And that's what they're gearing up for war here.
I think the FTC knows that, and that could be one reason they stepped in, rightly or wrongly. I'm not advocating for or against this, but I think that they also understand that there is a war coming and they can set a precedent or they can do nothing, which also sets a precedent.
Right.